Tulsi Gabbard is a disseminator of Russian propaganda. She's a mouthpiece, a tool, witting or otherwise, of Vladimir Putin. She is someone who has advocated for leaving NATO, abandoning our allies, leaving them to the wolves of Russia. Doing hard, good work for Vladimir Putin. Forwarding the messaging of the intelligence arm of the Russian government. I called her out in 2019. During the debates during the presidential election, I called her out as being absolutely self-interested, trying to make a name for herself, trying to have a position for herself. I'm going to play very briefly a clip from a podcast, my podcast, I Doubt It podcast, co-hosted by myself and Brittany Page. And this is me reminding the audience in November of 2022 what I said about her in November of 2019 to make it not confusing at all. Watch this. I actually say in this clip, she is looking for what the next thing is for herself. And in announcing her new YouTube channel and her podcast, she's leaving the Democratic Party. Here's me from 3 years ago.
Go to listen, for her to act like she is some stalwart Democrat and push back against these claims that she's been on Fox News, I don't have to go back to the Obama administration. She's been on Tucker Carlson's show 2 times in the last 30 days, on Hannity's show once in the last 30 days to trash the impeachment proceeding. She begged Steve Bannon for a meeting with Donald Trump, president-elect, to try to get a meeting with him. And then she met with him. Come on. She doesn't have the Democratic Party interest at heart. And by virtue of that, in many ways, doesn't have the interest of the United States of America. She is looking for what the next thing is for herself. She was looking for a cabinet position with Donald Trump, is what she was doing. When you're seeking a position with Donald Trump, and then you purport to run against him, this is the political calculus here that she's making.
Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how I was wrong and continue to be, if that is your estimation. She was looking for a cabinet position for herself with Donald Trump, and ding, 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 ding. Look what we've got for her, Johnny. We've got a cabinet level position as Director of National Intelligence with Donald Trump. A self-aggrandizing propagandist for a foreign hostile nation. This is from Politico. Trump taps dark horse Tulsi Gabbard. Dark horse? You spelled dipshit wrong, Politico. Trump taps dipshit Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. The surprise nomination of the former Democrat and fervent anti-interventionist is likely to meet stiff resistance in the Senate. That won't be a problem when he makes recess appointments Politico. He's already directed the Senate to do so. Get it together, mainstream journalism. President-elect Donald Trump has tapped Tulsi Gabbard to serve as his Director of National Intelligence, a shock move that would place an intelligence novice, some see as sympathetic to Moscow, in charge of the country's $70 billion spy apparatus. The former Democratic representative from Hawaii quit the party in late 2022 and later became a fixture in conservative media. She endorsed Trump in August and campaigned for him in the run-up to the November election. Quote, I know Tulsi will bring the fearless spirit that has defined her illustrious career to our intelligence community, championing our constitutional rights and securing peace through strength, Trump said in a statement on Wednesday. You know what's funny about that is how Politico here doesn't put the little sic in like the brackets, SIC, which indicates this was incorrectly written. We're not just incorrectly writing it. There's just so many of those in anything Donald Trump writes, they can't do it, I guess. But they should, to point out what a moron he is, what an unmitigated intellectual disaster he is. The selection of Gabbard is sure to provoke opposition in the Senate. She not only lacks experience in intelligence matters, but has opposed U.S. interventions in Ukraine and Syria, while at times suggesting the U.S. provoked Russia into aggressive policies. And now she's going to be the director of national intelligence. A former member of the Hawaii National Guard, Gabbard, 43, served in Congress as a Democrat from 2013 to 2021, and even launched a failed bid for president in 2020. Her dovish views on Russia and her criticism of U.S. interventions in the Middle East, most notably in Syria, brought her into conflict with foreign policy leaders in both parties. And just to give you a flavor, this from a video I did February of this year, 2024, of her spouting those Putin propaganda points, being a mouthpiece for the intelligence apparatus, or the counterintelligence apparatus, of Russia. This is her with Laura Ingraham with a frightened deer in the headlights look on her face. Watch this.
Now, with NATO, he is forcing the American people and NATO members to be confronted with some very serious and important questions. For us, what is the role of NATO? Does our membership in NATO serve our national security interests? And if it does, then how much are we, the American people, willing to put on the line in our taxpayer dollars and in American lives? And how much are these NATO members willing to put on the line in their money and the lives of their citizens? We cannot allow ourselves, the United States of America and the American people, to continue to be in this position where these NATO members expect us to put up our money. They expect us to put up the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform to protect them, when they're not even willing to do that for themselves.
First of all, Tulsi, how about you shut up about your brothers and sisters in uniform, as though you hold any allegiance to them while you are a puppet, a regurgitator of Russian propaganda, besmirching NATO, its mission, and the history of the organization, and the treaty that has protected many nations. You're pathetic. Laura Ingraham, Look, this is absolutely a shot across the bow to our enemies, but also a messaging. This is signaling to our enemies of our allies. Did I say enemies? Our allies. This is a shot across the bow to our allies in NATO. Everybody across the world who is dedicated to the prospect of peace on the globe. And this is, without a doubt, messaging to Vladimir Putin and foreign hostile powers that we're ready to play games. We're here for you. We're here to secure your intelligence and give you whatever you need, and that will come much to the chagrin and in national interest of ourselves and our allies. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can comment below. That would be great. You can also call. The voicemail line is, after all, very open, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please, if you're still here and you're interested in this fight, help me make these videos. Click the join button below, become a channel member, or go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. It's very troubling times we live in. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.